Hi guys, so today's video is about resume for legal practitioners. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and guide on how to edit your resume according to Canadian standards. Even if you're a paralegal or an LLM student or a student straight out of law school looking for articling, or somebody who's an ITL who wants to get a job or an internship in Canada. I'm just here to give you some tips and tricks and try and make your resume the most successful for this. So what I'm going to be covering in this video is basically your purpose, the formatting and structure of the resume, what content you should include, what to remove, and how to summarize your experiences and what to add and what not to add in the resume. Now, I'll start by telling you the most important things which are required for, you could consider it as being the first step of changing or making a new resume. So the first thing would be your full name. And why I'm including this right now, I know that, you would say that this is the most essential anyhow, but I would say that, if you're moving to Canada or you've just moved or you are in a law school, I would say use your legal name and use your legal full name, because what happens is that people sometimes do background checks for some jobs. And if you have not mentioned your legal name, sometimes that can become a little bit of an issue. Also, the name for law students, I would say, the name on your degree, the law degree and stuff, that is going to be what is going to be used on your resume. The second would be contact information. So a lot of people, when they have just moved or are in transition, have different addresses. And what they ask is that, we're staying at a relative's house, can we include that information? When you're applying, and whatever time you're applying at, wherever you're staying there, wherever you're staying at that time would be the best contact information to put. Because if they send you a letter by mail, which barely happens, but if they do, that's going to be your address. And also sometimes what happens is, sometimes you're staying at a place and you're applying nearby, so the employer kind of takes that into consideration. So that would always be to do whatever your full legal name and the contact information of which is always available, maybe your phone number, maybe your address, maybe your email address. Another tip for the email address, please make it look professional. It shouldn't be bubblegum123@gmail.com. It should be your full name at Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo. It should look a little professional, and it should make sense. Another aspect of important things to include is the objective of applying. So, if you are applying with a certain motive, or you are transitioning between careers or maybe practice areas, there is a certain paragraph which is added right after your contact information, and which gives the recruiter a good idea of what is your objective. This is very important, and I'm going to come to it a little bit after. Then comes your professional experience. If you're just making your resume for the first time, I would say just write down your professional experience. Have an idea of what dates and what years you've worked in a certain place. And also write down the key factors of what did you exactly do there and what was your role in that time or place. Then comes your educational qualifications. I feel definitely your law degree, your master's degree, everything needs to be added when it comes to the legal aspect. And certifications and memberships. Like, for example, you're in a different country and you are a lawyer there, and then you're moving to Canada. Definitely having that on your resume makes a really big difference, even if it's for a job or if it's for the NCAs. Having all these things just gives the recruiter or the assessor a good idea of what is going on and what you are, because before they're going to see you, they're going to see this piece of paper which has all the information. Language skills is really important in a place like Canada, because a lot of times employers consider this as an asset. So if you know certain languages or you understand or speak, you can definitely add them in your resume. And references could be on request, but definitely have them noted down before, just so you have a fair idea of who you're going to use as references. And sometimes what happens is that recruiters just email you that, okay, can you please send us your references as well so we can do a background check before you actually get the interview. And that has happened a few times with me as well. So I think you should always have them and let your references know that, listen, we're giving your number as a reference just in case if they get that call. So they know that they are going to be receiving that call, they know what to say, and you guys are on the same page in terms of whatever job is being applied as well. So a very big aspect of before the content, before your name, before everything, is that your resume needs to look very crisp and clean. It needs to look like it's professional, because in our case, we're all going to be applying for or we're going to be submitting it to a certain place, which basically shows us and our work. It should be well formatted, it should be grammatic, and it should be very systematic and spaced properly. Why I'm saying this is that a lot of times what happens is that when you format your resume, and sometimes you send it, even if there's like gaps or it looks a little bit shabby, the other person kind of feels that, you know what, if this person can't even do this properly, how will they do the job properly? A bigger aspect of our work is paperwork, and if your resume does not look clean, it's gonna look bad on your part. Another tip I would like to add for the new students out there who apply for internships: whenever you're submitting your resume or CV or whatever, you need to make it into a PDF format and rename it properly, and not just send us a Word formatted, unformatted, document which says like resume 1 2 3 4. I think if you're sending somebody a resume, it should be PDF format and it should say your full name. Because sometimes what happens is that we download, or recruiters download, the resumes, and sometimes we just don't want to. It's easier to spot your resume, instead of you writing resume 1 2 3 4 or part 6 or part 7. So that's just one tip for the new students out there. I know people with experience definitely don't do that, but students, I think you would like to keep that in consideration. So this is just an example of how your resume should look. This is, I would say, the best version. There's good spacing. Definitely, we haven't checked the grammar as of now, but this is how the outlook of your resume should be. Okay, so sections to be included for legal practitioners. Let's just go over it again. Your name, your email, your LinkedIn, which is your contact information, your education, experience, and internships. Internships, definitely. You could add volunteer work. Yes, amazing. I think you should add that because a lot of recruiters and lawyers are very interested in asking you about that. Definitely, it also creates a topic for small talk. If, for example, you donate to UNICEF or donate to sick kids, and for example your employer is also doing the same, so it just creates a common interest and gives you a topic of conversations. Awards and honors, affiliations and memberships, MUN's conferences, leadership positions. These are just basic examples you can include. And I would always say include your interests and try and include your hobbies. Don't make your resume too long. I would suggest 1 page. If not, make it maybe front and back, but don't make it so long. It should not be over a page, because the attention span of recruiters or anybody would just be like 5 seconds or 10 seconds maximum. So try and take out the best of your experiences and put them in there is what I would suggest. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a little bit more detail. So if you see on the top where I've written the X's is where your name is supposed to be, and then your address would be the second line, and then your contact number, your email. Try and give your contact number, and which is very accessible to you. Sometimes recruiters, lawyers just end up giving you a call after they see your resume, and you should be available and you should know and you should have a demarcation of which job and what is the role, and don't be confused and don't try and ask the recruiter or the person, oh okay, which job was this, have a bit of clarity on what you applied to, and you might just get a call on that. Now, this resume example would be for somebody who's just straight out of law school, either an ITL or somebody who's looking for articling or anything, because in this resume, the education comes right on top. The education comes first because work experience is less, or probably it's more of internships. So I would say put your education first. You could put your law degree, your master's degree. You don't really need, high school or anything else, but I think putting your law degree would be the best idea there. Then comes the work experience for this one. I would say that put your internships, or if you have done summer internships or part time jobs, that would be the best for a student. And then let's go to the next one. Just give me a second. So, this is an example of somebody who's more experienced. There comes the name, the contact, the email, the social LinkedIn. In some of the online, if you're sending your resume online, like where it says social link, you can probably hyperlink your LinkedIn profile. It kind of looks nice and it gives an extra touch and an extra personal touch to your resume, and the recruiter knows that you have a social, appearance, and professionally you are available on LinkedIn as well. Now, associate lawyer is the position Peter is probably looking for. And this is a little paragraph or an objective which he is giving about himself or herself. And I think this is mostly used when, for example, if I was into civil litigation and I was going into family law, I would give this sort of a resume. Or if you are practicing in a certain country and you just moved to Canada and you are looking for a articling position or an internship position, you could probably write about your objective that you have already practiced and that you are looking for a job, and that you have certain communication skills or you have certain skills. And sometimes what happens is that those jobs have certain requirements of certifications, and I feel that writing those certifications down in this first paragraph would be the best. What I would say don't do is, like, for example, in this it's written great excellent communication skills or team leader. I feel everybody writes that. So what the best thing would be to go into the job you're applying for and pick up certain keywords from that or maybe paraphrase that, and sort of use it in this description. Another thing which this resume has is like strengths and expertise. Like, this person has added negotiation skills and team leadership and communication and operation management. I would say don't overlap the paragraph and the strengths and expertise, and only add the strengths and expertise paragraph or these wordings if you actually have that space to do it and you don't have that much experience. So maybe that could be used as just, an extra space giver, because you don't want to give a resume which is just half a page. So coming to the next part, which is the professional experience, you should have a proper heading of the company. Make sure you're writing the full name of the company. If it is Coca-Cola Canada or Coca-Cola Russia, it should be the whole name. Then right beneath that should be your position, and on the right hand side, or maybe around that according to how you want to format it, make sure that you're writing the duration of when you started working there to when to maybe the present or when you stopped working there. Some people don't like to mention the months, they only like to mention the years. It is totally a personal preference, but I would say most jobs, when you fill out their forms, they do write the months, so it is preferred that you write the months very neatly. Spacing should be nicely done. Like you see right between, they have spacing between all of the lines, and right underneath legal counsel it's given like a few lines about what the roles and responsibilities were at ABC International Company. um, don't exceed 3 lines over in this, or maybe make it 2, because nobody's going to read that much, first of all, and second of all, it needs to seem that you've summarized the whole position in a few lines. And don't overlap all the experiences, even if your roles and responsibilities have always been as a taxation lawyer or a family lawyer. Try and make those experiences sound a little different on your resume, just to give it that you've covered more areas or you've done things more differently, and just to make it not look a little monotonous. So once you're done with the experiences comes the education. So again, this is the resume, which basically cover is for somebody who has more work experience, and the education comes a little bit beneath everything. Because why? Because is that education, in the case of a newbie, is more important. But if you have more experience, I think recruiters like to see more experience, prefer more experience than, a fresher or a first year or second year associate. And definitely mention the small courses as well. I think I did a few small courses from Osgod when I had just started, and that really helped me putting that on my resume, getting my articling and doing everything, is because that recruiters like to see that you're also evolving and giving yourself that time for professional development, and doing courses time and again, and it just adds on to your experience level as well. Okay, so keywords important for your resume is the last thing I want to discuss on this, is that um, if you go into the job description of the job you are planning to apply for, there will be certain objectives, key roles that they're going to enlist. And if you try to incorporate those keywords, or keywords which are probably, approximately the same meaning to them, it would be really helpful for the recruiter to see that you have the same interests which are required for the job. I'm gonna try and make different templates for you guys, and if you want, I'm gonna link my Instagram profile below. And you know what? Drop me a message, a DM on Instagram, and let me know what resume template you want. I'm gonna try and make a few for you. And definitely reach out to me, and I'm gonna send them to you for free. Because at this time I didn't have enough time to edit one for you, and I didn't have enough time to, make them today. But with I'm gonna make it, and then you guys can, message me and tell me what journey you're on, what resume you need, and if you guys need any help as well. These are my tips and tricks for now, but definitely I'm going to come up with another video which talks about the NCA assessment resume, and the difference between, what should you do with your NCA resume, and what should you do with, applying for an actual job or an actual articling position. This is just the most basic I could put through. Another thing I would say, do's and don'ts. What I have seen personally is, don't put your personal information out there. If you're married or if you have a certain orientation, um, I don't think that should be put on your resume explicitly. And asking, if a recruiter asks you about uh, personal questions like your pregnancy or certain things like that, that is completely illegal. Please report it. I have had personally been asked such questions and about my personal life and my family planning, and it's not called for, and it's completely against the law. So please keep that in mind. Also, don't give your date of birth, don't give your time of birth, don't give your pictures. A lot of personal information is not appreciated in a place like Canada. I know I have seen in different countries a lot of people do ask for this information, but it's not required, and I don't think it should be given as well. In the interview as well, be careful about this. Don't just make sure that you're giving certain information only and only for the job and not much about yourself, unless if it's asked for, like your hobbies or whatever. So these are my do's and don'ts, and definitely reach out to me for those templates, and I'm going to try and link them below. If not, please send me a message on Instagram and I would definitely send you those templates. Let me know if you guys need any help with that. I definitely mark out whatever is required in your resume. You can send them to me and we'll try and help you out as much as we can. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. I hope you liked the video. I tried doing the most I could in this one, but I'm going to try and make another one as well, which is more detailed. If you did like it, please subscribe and let me know in the comments of what else you guys want to see and if you guys need any other help. Thank you.